Welcome to the Resolve overview of provisioning a virtual machine in a VMware ESXi environment. We're going to take a look at how we can go ahead and provision that using this automation. In this particular example, we're launching it from a user interface within the Resolve environment. This could just as easily be leveraged from a variety of other external systems, including tie-ins to IT service management environments. First thing we want to take a look at is what are the requirements for this particular virtual machine. Because this is particular to the ESXi VMware environment, we're going to go ahead and leave the VM type as local. It could just as easily be selected for cloud provisioning to tie-ins for things such as AWS, EC2, and a variety of others. The host name I've pre-filled out so that we can ensure that we create one that is going to run through the entire process. If I did have a duplicate, it would error out and let me know. I've also pre-selected an IP address that I know is available. However, same applies. If it was already in use, it would be checking for that type of information, error out, and inform me. Next thing is the disk size. I've got it set at 40 because this is just a small provisioning example, and then my virtual memory and CPU. So I'll go ahead and kick this off by pressing the Submit button. While this runs, we'll go ahead and take a look at the back-end automation to show all of the different aspects that are going on. As you can see some results starting to appear on the right-hand side, we'll come back to this page. Taking a look at the automation model, the first thing that's going on is the entitlement checks. What we're doing is going out to the respective system of record. In this case, it happens to be an ITSM system, and we're checking for a particular role that is giving me entitlement for being able to create a virtual machine. If I didn't have that entitlement, we would drop out and go ahead and create a change request so that the proper individuals could approve my request. Then we're going to go ahead and create a service request. Again, we're launching this from within the Resolve user interface. If this had come in a variety of other ways, potentially that service request may already be created. But we're going to go ahead and create it so that we can capture all the information there. And as I mentioned when we were first starting off, we're going to do an IP address check as well as a host name check. If those are already in use, we're going to go ahead and error out, let the user know so that they can pick either a different one, talk to their administrators about which ones they should be using for host name and IP address, or just go ahead and resubmit with something different. Then we're going to go ahead and make that selection for local. I mentioned we could have taken the cloud path, but because this is specific to VMware ESXi, we're going to go ahead and take the local path. We're going to then check to make sure that the resources on that host are indeed available that have been requested. So I had put in 40 gigabytes of disk space and some virtual memory and CPU. Those particular numbers are cross-referenced to ensure that we're not overloading that particular host. If we are, and those aren't available, again, we'll provide an error, let the user know, and take a different path out. They can come back in with either different resources or put a request into that administrator for that environment to see what they can do to give them those resources or make them available. After we validated that, we're going to go ahead and select the proper template. This is key because the templates can be predefined and make it real easy to deploy. If not, it can also be created manually. Leveraging the template is going to allow us to deploy, and then we're going to determine what tool are we going to use to deploy. In today's example, Resolve is actually doing the deployment. However, there are a variety of other task-specific automation tools that could be leveraged. A few of them are listed here in this demonstration. At the bottom, we're then going to go ahead and take the next step of going into the deployment validation. Now this is key because after we've deployed the template, we want to make sure that it's actually there and available, that that host has been created, has the proper IP that has been requested, and is online. Once we do that, we're going to go ahead and do some post-deployment configuration. Now you think, well, I used a template. Why would I need that post-deployment configuration? Well, there's a variety of things that we might want to do. SNMP, SMTP, some updates regardless of when you've created that virtual host. There's always going to be some updates based off of the actual installation media, time, date, version, etc. So all of those things are going to come into configuration play, as well as if I want to add it to, say, Active Directory or a particular domain, I need to enable those functions as well. Lastly, we're going to go ahead and move into leveraging a synthetic test. In this case, we're leveraging an RPA tool called Selenium. Various other tools can be leveraged here as well. The reason for this is to provide a user aspect interface check, not just an infrastructure deployment or infrastructure test. We've already done that above, and we've already updated the system. Now we want to validate it from that UI user perspective. And then we're going to go ahead and error out if there's an issue there, provide that information, or wrap it up by updating the service request, which we created at the very beginning of this particular example. Now that we've reached the end of this automation flow, that's provided ample time for all of this to occur and for that system to be created and be brought online with the updates as we just talked about. I can go ahead and connect to it and do whatever it is that I have created the system for, whatever development purpose or other application system purpose I need to use it for. This has been an overview of the resolve provisioning for VMware ESXi virtual host. Thanks for watching.